All right. Well, we are about to have our chair yoga practice together. And if you are new to this group, a big welcome. We're so happy to have you. If you're returning, I'm also happy to have you back. Um, Whether you're new or returning, I would be delighted if you would write your name in the chat box. That's the little button that looks kind of like a speech bubble from a cartoon. If you click on that, it should give you a little spot you can type, and you could put your name, what state you're joining from, um, a fun fact about yourself, anything you want to share to the group. Um, let's see. A fun fact about me is the first yoga class I ever took was a chair yoga class with my grandmother when I was 12 years old. And she said, "You got to come try this out." And that was my first introduction to yoga. Okay, so this session is going to be recorded, but it's really just recording me, so that you can log into YouTube in about a month when this class is going to be online, and you can watch it again if you want. Um, to make sure that we all have the best experience, and mostly that you have the best experience, we're going to have all of you mute yourself during class. So that would be clicking on the little button that looks kind of like a microphone. That way you can all hear me clearly during class. And then at the end of class, I'll invite you to unmute if you want to share how you're feeling or any questions that you might have about our yoga class. Let's see. Before I go any further, we have some comments. Marsha's from Michigan, second class, and she really likes it. Awesome. Fran from Augusta, Georgia, a retired physician. Welcome. And Patricia says, welcome. Hi, Patricia from Virginia. Amazing. Welcome, welcome, everybody. This is part of the Grow with GoGo program. So this chair yoga class is sort of part of the GoGo program offerings that are available to y'all. If you want to find out more, you can always go to our website that's here at the bottom of the screen, and that is GoGoGrandparent.com for more information about different services and classes that are available to you. You're also welcome to call the phone number, and that is listed here in yellow. It's that 855-464-6872 number. And if you call that number, you'll be able to get more information about rides and meal deliveries and grocery deliveries and medication deliveries and sort of handyman services that are part of GoGoGrandparent. This is, our referral program with sort of ongoing. If you have friends that you think would enjoy GoGoGrandparent or that you want to invite to chair yoga, you can invite them in using your referral code at the bottom of your receipt, and they'll get $30 in credit. You'll get $30 in credit. And then we'll have more members of the community. On the topic of community, we do have this Facebook group. And so it's a link here on the screen, but V, who I'm so grateful is always here. She's our amazing GoGo admin. She is going to share the link to the Facebook group in the chat so that it's easier just to sort of click the link. That'll connect you directly to Facebook so you can join the group if you're interested in joining that online community. And then just a little bit about what we'll be doing today in case this is your first time. I have this sort of intro time where I'm sort of talking about what we're going to be doing. And then we'll have a very brief meditation just to sort of get situated and get ready for our class together. And then the actual chair yoga class is about 40 to 45 minutes. And as per the request last week, we will do mostly seated practice, but we will also have a series of standing movements that are available to you if you'd like to try them. And I do want to be clear, you're welcome to remain seated, but if you're feeling that you'd like to explore some standing movements, maybe with one hand on the back of your chair or on another solid piece of furniture for balance, you're welcome to join for those standing movements. And at the end, we'll have some reflection time. And all that means is it's just a chance to unmute and share and talk and get to know one another and sort of hear how you felt during class, things you like, things you wish were different, improvements or ideas you have for how this class can be better. All right, let's see. Okay, so I do recommend a standard chair. So I'm using, oh, where is it? My office chair that I just brought over from my desk, and it doesn't have wheels. So that's really its best feature is that my chair doesn't roll around. And I recommend the same for you. We don't want to be rolling around during our chair yoga practice. Um, we want to make sure we feel steady and stable and secure. Okay, let's move. But before we do, we have two messages here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Laverne, you're on vacation in New Orleans. Wow, I hope you're having a good time. And then V has shared the link to the Facebook group. Thank you, V. All right, let me stop sharing. Wow, it's so great to see everybody. Now that I'm not sharing my screen, I get to see all of your faces. It's so lovely. V, I believe, has the ability to spotlight me so that you can see me. And I think that should have been spotlit for everybody. Let's see who I can see. Susan and Kathleen, can you give a thumbs up if you can see my face real big? Okay, great. Thanks, y'all. Okay, I'm going to step back and just a few more thumbs up to confirm that you can still hear me even as I'm walking back away from the screen. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Thank you for bearing with me as I talked us through all of our little housekeeping at the beginning of our class. Now we sort of get into our actual practice. So go ahead and take a seat, maybe in your chair or on your sofa or wherever you feel most stable. And if you'd like to, you could begin your practice by sort of sitting back into the support of your chair. So you may want to scoot back a little bit, maybe feeling that connection between the back of your chair and your body. It's possible that your feet want to get more comfortable. Maybe you rest your hands on your legs and your shoulders may sort of melt down a little bit, getting heavy. You have the option here of closing your eyes. And you may find that by closing your eyes, you're able to soften some of the muscles around your eyes, between your eyebrows and your forehead may start to feel a little softer. If you're clenching your jaw, this could be a moment to soften the inside of your mouth, your jaw, your tongue. And we'll sort of take a moment here to arrive to our shared practice. And one way to arrive into the present moment is to notice that we are breathing. So maybe starting to notice what it feels like to breathe in and what it feels like to breathe out. As you inhale, you may feel your belly expanding, maybe a little bit of a lift in your chest. And as you exhale, you may feel a kind of softening, a release, a sort of emptying out. And continuing to take full, deep cycles of breath at your own pace. You're welcome to try inhaling through your nose and exhaling slowly out through your mouth. And as we breathe together, each of us in our own way, at our own pace, it's possible that you'll notice your thoughts sort of wandering away. So maybe your thoughts wander back to whatever happened before class, or maybe your thoughts are wandering to whatever is going to happen after class. And that's perfectly normal. If you'd like, you could very gently guide your thoughts and your awareness back into this present moment by noticing what it feels like to breathe. the more we notice each little sensation connected to breathing, the more we are grounding ourselves in the present moment. Sometimes that's called mindfulness. Breathing in and breathing out. Noticing what is truly happening right now. You're welcome to stay right where you are, focusing on your breath for as long as you want. In fact, you could stay here for the next 45 minutes, and that would be a complete yoga practice, linking together your thoughts and your body. But if you prefer a little bit more movement, you're welcome to start blinking your eyes open. Let's see. Maybe finding a little movement in your fingers or your toes, maybe in your ankles, maybe in your wrists. It's possible that you choose to extend your legs forward. Maybe you want to stretch your arms overhead, possibly taking a stretch as if we've just woken up this morning. As you exhale, you could bring your arms down, planting your feet, maybe finding that you want to sit a little bit taller. And if you'd like, you could scoot forward any amount. So if you choose to scoot forward, you may notice that you want to plant your feet firmly beneath your knees for support, resting your hands maybe on your knees so that we can begin to find a little bit of circular movement. Now, you may notice that I have shoes on, and I've chosen to practice with my shoes on. You're welcome to practice in bare feet if you prefer, or with shoes on. I don't recommend socks, especially if you're on any sort of surface that could possibly slip. But it's really up to you, whatever feels most stable and secure and grounded. If you've chosen to circle your torso, you may begin to notice some stretching or warming up feelings in your lower back or your hips. Maybe you try circling in both directions, sort of observing how this movement feels in your body today. Remembering that you are welcome to change any of these movements at any point and for any reason. You get to choose how you move and if you move. Whenever you want, you have the option of leaning forward any amount. Now, if you want to, you could let your belly get pretty big here, breathing in. And as we exhale, we'll start to hinge or lean back until you may notice that your abdominals or your core starts to sort of activate a little bit to support you. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can kind of get a sense here. We're inhaling, leaning forward any amount. And as we exhale, we'll start to lean back just until you start to feel maybe your core or your abdominal muscles starting to activate to support you. So we're leaning forward to breathe in, maybe leaning back as you exhale, using this movement to sort of begin to warm up some of our core muscles. The more we can strengthen our abdominals, the more our lower back will thank us, sort of checking in with that strength we have. One thing you may find useful here will be to exhale as you imagine sort of knitting together your abdominals, maybe even drawing your belly button slightly in towards your spine. And then as you inhale, finding that big, big Buddha belly. So filling up with breath in, exhaling, drawing your belly button in to lean back. Now we could take that a couple more times if you choose, sort of warming up our strength, our core. And at any point, you can come forward into your forward fold and pause in your forward fold, maybe bringing your elbows to your knees. Now, sometimes it can feel nice to just pause here. You may want to look down between your feet, feeling perhaps a stretch into your lower back here. You're always welcome to stay right here, or it may feel interesting to begin leaning or shifting side to side. And what that may do is sort of change the sensation in your lower back. So you may feel the sensation sort of slide from one side to the other, more of a stretch on one side and more of a stretch on the other side. You could continue from side to side. If you're interested in some sensations in your upper back, sort of between your shoulder blades, a little bit of a twist, one way to do that is to explore lowering one shoulder forwards and down and then the other. So maybe as you lower your left shoulder towards center, you could look behind you to the right, sort of completing that twist. Oh, getting a nice stretch in our mid upper back. And maybe you try that on the other side, lowering your right shoulder down, looking to the left, sort of continuing from side to side. Noticing how you're breathing as we explore this little bit of a twist into our upper back. And as you begin to come through what feels like center, maybe you bring both hands to your knees. We're going to push into our knees to lift up. If you choose to, maybe reaching up to breathe in. You could bring your fingertips to your shoulders. And as much as feels comfortable, we want to keep a little bit of a lift in our elbows. And just by lifting your elbows, you may start to feel that stretch across your upper back, your shoulder muscles. You have the option of starting to circle your elbows any amount. We're staying within a range of motion that feels interesting. We really want to listen into how our shoulders are feeling this morning or this afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. You can change directions. If you circle your elbows one way, you could try the opposite direction. And then something you could explore here. So as you're sort of swimming forwards with your elbows, kind of like an elbow freestyle swimming, you could start to round a little bit. So I'm going to turn to the side in case that's useful. Just a little bit of rounding, maybe even bowing your head. We're really getting into some of the muscles in our shoulders, our upper back here. For a different sensation, we could begin to swim backwards. And what that may allow is a little bit of a twist. So maybe turning from side to side. Oh, yeah, it depends on how you've been moving so far this week. You may notice more or less sensation with these movements. Every day I have more parts of me that are creaky. Whenever you feel ready, you could start to bring both of your elbows forward, possibly bowing your head. And then as we inhale, you could open your elbows and we'll unfurl our arms wide. So you could spread through your fingers, you could lift through your heart. You could even open your eyes and your mouth, becoming large, breathing in. As we exhale, releasing your arms down. Maybe a little shake out in our hands. If you'd like to, you could also bring your arms forward and take a little bit of movement in our wrists, sort of circling your wrists. For a different sensation here, before you circle, you could also draw your fingers towards the base of your palm. So we're making a little bit of a fist and then circle your wrist. So that may bring more of a stretching sensation to the back of your hands. Breathing here. As you feel ready, maybe floating your arms out wide, and we'll explore flicking through the air. So really giving some movement to our fingers, our strengthening through our forearms. As you inhale, you could float your arms overhead, flicking through the air. And as we exhale, we'll begin to wiggle our fingers, playing that invisible grand piano, bringing your arms all the way back. Once again, a little shakeout may be useful here. You could also begin to rest your hands on your knees and come right back to the circles that we found earlier in our practice. Now, as you're circling, if you like, maybe starting to connect your movement to your breath. So one way to do that is to inhale for a full circle And exhale for a full circle as well. Inhaling, maybe a full circle. Breathing out, perhaps a full circle as well. You're welcome to try both directions. At some point, if you're ready, you could begin to lean forward. This time, sort of sliding your hands towards your hips. So your elbows may come back towards the wall behind you. And maybe there's a kind of lift in your heart, sort of arching your back if you want. Breathing in. As we exhale, you could start to round your spine. So what this may feel like is sort of rocking towards the back of your chair. Your fingertips could come to your knees as you look down. Then as we inhale, once again, lifting, maybe drawing your hands and elbows back, coming forward, and then exhaling, rounding, rocking back. So really staying within a comfortable range of motion here. We're certainly not pushing into anything that feels pinchy or painful. Sometimes this is called a spinal wave or cat cow. So we're kind of inhaling our way forward into what's sometimes called cow, and then exhaling as you round back, finding that sort of rounded cat back. Following your own pace, inhaling forward, exhaling back. And you may find you want to continue this spinal wave for a while. Possible you'll feel this kind of warming up in your lower back, or you may feel it more sort of in your mid back between your shoulder blades. At some point, when you feel ready for something a little different, you could come back towards what feels like a neutral spine for you. And then we'll inhale, drawing just your left hand towards your left hip. So that may allow you to sort of turn towards the left. Then as you exhale, you could make your way to the other side, sliding your right hand towards your right. Then we'll sort of continue from side to side, inhaling to one side, exhaling to the other. And this is our final twist. You can continue this for as long as this is feeling useful. This is another place where we really don't want to crank past what feels comfortable. Each of us, we're sort of looking for a range of motion that leads us into an interesting stretch. We're not pushing into anything that feels painful, just finding a stretch that feels useful for our bodies, our muscles today. And as you feel ready, you could start to come back towards what feels like centered, and we'll bring our awareness down into our feet. So possibly lifting one heel and then the other. And you may start to experience some snap, crackle, pop if your ankles are anything like mine. You could keep lifting one heel and then the other, or for a bit of a different sensation, you could inhale, lifting your heels. And then as we continue breathing, we could sort of land our heels from side to side. So we're sort of shifting our heels together from side to side, getting into all sorts of stretching down to the backs of our calves, down into our ankle joints, checking in some of the muscles on the sides of our ankles that we may not give too much attention to. And start to bringing your heels back towards what feels like a neutral place, so that if you want to, we could tap our toes, sort of strengthening some of the muscles that run up the front of our shins. Go ahead and bring your feet to stillness when you're ready, possibly beginning to lift one foot off of the ground as you breathe in, and as you exhale, you could lower it back down. So maybe continuing at your own pace, inhaling to lift, exhaling to lower. Now, if you were enjoying the spinal twist we found a moment ago, we could add one in here. So maybe as you're lifting your left knee, you could also look to the left. So we're sort of combining our leg lift with our twist, and then we'll exhale back down through center. Maybe you try that on the other side. Inhaling, lifting your right knee. Maybe you turn to look to the right as well, and exhale down. So a lot of different muscle dynamics at play here. You may feel the stretch sort of in the side of your hip, exhaling back down to center. You may start to feel some strengthening in your legs, maybe a stretch sort of into the back of your leg, beginning to get into, some strengthening in our lower back muscles. You could continue from side to side, really honestly, as long as this is feeling interesting to your body. It's up to you when you feel ready for something different. You could lift your left knee and maybe stay centered and explore some movement in your ankle joint. So maybe we circle our ankle. You could also point and flex your foot. And then for more strengthening sensation, you could flex your foot and sort of wave the screen, kind of waving our foot, a little bit of lateral movement here, strengthening more around our ankle. We're getting ready for some of our balance practices we'll be introducing in our standing movements later. Let's inhale here. And as you exhale, we'll go ahead and soften with a little bit more circling in our ankle. If you'd like to, you could flex your foot and extend your left leg forward. As you exhale, we could land our heel. Now, I'm going to turn to the side just in case that's useful for you. We want to imagine that we have our left leg extended. It's up to you if you want to add a bend in your knee or keep your leg straight. Inhaling to find your full spinal height. As we exhale, maybe leaning forward any amount. We're just looking for the beginnings of a stretch into our hamstring muscles in the back of our left leg. You may feel that stretch into your lower back as well. Something to keep in mind here, if you're really jutting your chin forward, we want to explore slightly tucking our chin. So what that may do is bring a kind of opening or lengthening sensation in the back of your neck. Let's breathe in and breathe out. On your next inhale, slowly looking forward, rising up. Maybe you reach overhead to breathe in. Exhaling your hands together to your heart. As we inhale, diving upward. And as you exhale, you could bring your arms slowly back and down. We'll go ahead and plant our feet, maybe bouncing out your heels a little bit. And then just to sort of soften into our knee joints, you could explore extending one leg and then the other, kind of softening into our knees a bit. Maybe even planting both feet and taking some windshield wiper movement. So letting our knees kind of move from side to side. And it is possible that your feet start to roll a bit from the outer edge to the inner edge. Again, getting more stretching to our ankles, our feet. Before we take that on the other side, if you'd like to, we could heel toe to just a little bit of a wider stance, maybe leaning side to side. So one thing you may find useful here is to let your toes sort of angle out. So we have a nice amount of support from our feet as we lean from side to side. Oh, this may bring all sorts of lengthening sensations into the side of your body. It's almost like we are creating more space in between each of our ribs, more space to breathe more deeply. Your forearms are available to support you here as you lean from side to side. As you lean over to the right, you may notice that you want to find a little bit of opening, maybe even looking up to the left. And then as you lean to the left, if you'd like, you could imagine a kind of rotation open in your heart. So you may be looking up, sort of twisting to look up at the sky. And continuing from side to side. If your arms are really asking you for more movement, you are welcome to start sweeping one arm overhead and then the other. Adding more of that lengthening sensation into the side of your body, that stretching, lengthening, opening feeling. Noticing how you're breathing as you're moving from side to side. Beginning to make your way towards what feels like center. Maybe you reach all the way up to come through center, breathing in. Exhaling your hands together to your heart. If you choose to, we could keep this wide stance in our legs, but let our toes point forward. Inhaling to reach up. This time, as we exhale, you have the option to begin leaning, swan diving forward. So we're coming into our wide forward fold. Maybe your hands come to your knees, possibly your elbows to your knees. If you're continuing moving forward, you could also bring your hands to your ankles or to your feet, maybe your fingertips to the ground between your feet. It is up to you. We're each finding our seated forward fold, possibly letting your head sort of bow forward here. And that may feel like some lengthening into the back of your neck, almost like your neck is letting go of the weight of your head for just a moment. Sometimes this is called an inversion, sort of giving our head a chance to be below our heart. Let's breathe here. Slowly with care, bringing our hands to our knees and beginning to look forward. Now, on the way up, we want to give our head time to slowly come back above our heart, inhaling all the way back up towards a neutral spine. Maybe you reach up to breathe in, exhaling your palms together to your heart, inhaling, diving upward, and exhaling your arms very slowly back and down. We'll heel to our feet back towards a more neutral stance, maybe even bouncing out your heels a little bit. And then if you'd like to, you could begin to lift your right knee up towards your heart. And you can hold on to the front of your shin. You could also hold on sort of behind your knee. Wherever you are, if we're rounding forward, I'd love to invite you to try lifting and lengthening, sitting taller to breathe in. As we exhale, maybe there's some movement in your ankle in some way. You could circle your ankle. You could also point and flex your foot, possibly flexing your foot and then sort of waving at the screen, saying hello. And then if you want to, you could keep your foot flexed. Maybe you extend forward, breathing in, and exhale to land your heel. Now, this is where you get to choose if you want to have your legs straight or give a bend to your knee. We do want to make sure our left heel is firmly planted beneath our bent left knee. And then as we inhale, maybe sitting taller, so that as you exhale, you could start to lean forward any amount. Again, we're really not pushing into pain here. We are looking for a stretching sensation in the back of our right leg, some lengthening into our lower back. Maybe you're very lightly tucking your chin just so the back of your neck can sort of open and lengthen, looking down at your feet or at your toes. Let's breathe in and breathe out. As we inhale, maybe you start to look forward, rising up, breathing in to reach overhead. Inhaling your palms together to your heart. Inhaling, diving upward, and exhaling your arms slowly back and down. We'll go ahead and plant our feet. If you'd like to, you could extend one leg and then the other. We are just looking for that kind of softening into our knee joint. Now you're welcome to remain seated. If you're feeling that you'd like to explore some standing movements with the support of your chair, you could begin to make your way towards standing. And there's no wrong way to do that. One way you could get to standing would be to start leaning forward. As you do, you may find you want to bring your feet slightly closer to your chair. Maybe you start to reach forward until you feel your hips are perhaps able to lift off of your chair. At that point, you could start to push into the ground with your feet, sort of rising, unfurling up to standing, breathing in, and maybe you exhale your arms down. Taking your time here, if you're using a chair, we want to move back behind our chair so we have the support of our chair to help us with our balance. Now, if you're still seated, one way you could move would be to shift or lean from side to side. If you're standing, you may notice that you start to send your hips from side to side, really listening into our hip joints, the side of our body. If you're seated, you could begin to find your torso circle. If you're standing, maybe exploring some circular movements in your hips. Now, I'm probably going to keep my hands on the chair. If you're feeling really steady and stable here, you are welcome to bring your hands to your hips if that feels more interesting today. Just know your chair is available to you for some support if you need it. Noticing how you're breathing. If you're circling your torso, you may notice that it's sort of moving in circles as your hips are circling as well. And you may start to feel the beginnings of that stretch into the backs of your legs, your hamstrings. And we'll start to come through what feels like center or neutral. And whether you are seated or standing, on your inhale, if you'd like, you could lift your heels any amount off the ground. As we exhale, landing your heels. And if you're standing, you could also bend your knees, drawing your hips back towards an invisible chair behind you. So that as we inhale, we're sort of rising up, lifting our heels. And as we exhale, we're landing our heels, maybe leaning forward, maybe bending our knees to draw our hips back. So sort of moving between those two places, following our breath. If you've chosen to stand, remember that at any point, you can make your way back to seated. This is your time and your practice. You get to move in a way that feels good for you. The next time you're rising up, if you'd like, you could lift your heels any amount off the ground. Love to invite you to find something you can look at that's not moving. It'll help you with your balance. Very gently engaging through your seat, maybe tightening your seat, and you may also feel some engagement in your core here. You could keep your hands on your chair, and if you're really sort of white knuckling your chair, this could be a moment to bring some softness to your fingers. Knowing your chair is here if you need it, possibly bringing one hand to your heart. Let's breathe in. As we exhale, if your heels are lifted, landing them down, we'll release our hands for just a moment, maybe a little shakeout. And then with the support of your chair, you could lift one heel and then the other, sort of shifting our weight from side to side. And if it sounds inviting, you could begin to plant your feet and then we'll bend one knee back and then the other. So sometimes I call these my pony kick. Essentially, we're just bending one knee and then the other, sending one foot back and then the other, sort of listening into the front of our legs, those big muscles. Noticing how you're breathing. And if you're seated, you could explore lifting one knee forward and then the other here, and noticing how that feels in your body today. Now, at any point, you could begin to plant your feet. We're going to come into what's sometimes called supported downward facing dog. So I'm going to come back to seated just to show how the seated version of this works, and then I'll come back to standing to show you how that works as well. So if you're seated, the idea here is to plant your feet and lean forward any amount. And then if you'd like to, you could reach your arms overhead, imagining your fingers are reaching actively away from your seat, feeling that lengthening through your spine. If you're standing, you do have the option here of beginning to step your feet back. So what we're doing is sort of hinging at the waist. Your hands are on your chair. Your hips are maybe actively pulling back towards the wall behind you. So you may start to feel significant stretching into your mid-back, maybe in the backs of your legs. Since this is called our supported downward dog, you could explore walking your dog by bending one knee and then the other, lifting one heel and then the other if you're seated or standing. You could stay here for as long as you'd like until you feel ready on an inhale to lift through your heart to look forward and slowly walk your feet in. Wherever you are, coming back towards a neutral spine, maybe reaching up to breathe in. Then we'll exhale our arms all the way down. As we bring our hands to our chair for support, you have the option once again of lifting one heel and then the other. You're welcome to lift one heel and then the other if you're standing or seated. Noticing sort of articulating through our feet, our toes, landing our heels, and then lifting the other one. If you'd like to take another moment of balance here, you could shift weight into your right foot and maybe lift your left heel. Once again, looking at something that's not moving that will help with your balance. And if you choose to, you could explore flexing your left foot so it may lift off of the ground and come forward. Sometimes this is called tree form. And just remembering that no two trees are alike. This is your moment to explore balance. I'm going to turn towards center just in case that's useful today. Maybe your left heel is lifted. Maybe your left foot is flexed and lifted. If we're dropping down into our right hip, exploring lifting, lengthening, standing taller, you're always welcome to bring one hand to your heart. You could keep one hand on your chair. Since this is our tree form, you may find that one of your arms, one of your branches wants to reach up. Let's breathe in. And as we exhale, you could begin to plant your feet, bringing your arms, your branches down, maybe shaking out through your hands. With the support of your chair, you could send your hips side to side, or maybe we take our torso circles again, noticing how you're breathing. Now, before we take that on the other side, if you'd like to, you could explore planting your feet so that they're parallel. And all that just means is that you feel stable and steady. Maybe your feet are pointing in the same direction if that feels comfortable today. And then we'll explore stepping one foot back and then the other. Now, as you step one foot back, the front knee may give a little bend. So we're sort of checking in with our calf muscle. If you're seated, one way to explore this similar sensation would be to sort of land one heel forward and then the other. And whether you're seated or standing, just noticing what you notice, which parts of your body are experiencing sensation. What it feels like to give a little stretch to our calf muscles, stepping one foot back and then the other. At any point, you could come through what feels like a neutral place for your spine today. Taking a deep breath in, maybe you reach up. On your exhale, you could bring your hands together to your heart. As we inhale, maybe diving upward. And as you exhale, you could bring your arms all the way back down. If you want to take more balance today, we could take that on the other side. So maybe we shift weight into our right foot, or into our left foot, lifting our right heel. So this side may feel a little bit different. If you're seated, you're welcome to explore a similar sensation here. Wherever we are, we're lifting perhaps our right heel. And you get to decide if you want to flex your right foot, so your foot may sort of lift off of the ground and come forward. As we feel weight and strength in our left leg, let's invite you to imagine lifting and lengthening, so we're really creating space within our left hip. You're welcome to bring one hand to your heart, or one of your branches may start to reach up. No two trees are alike. Let's breathe in. On your exhale, you could begin to plant your foot if it was lifted, bringing your arms, your branches down. Maybe a little shake out in our hands as we send our hips from side to side. Maybe a circle or two in your torso. And beginning to gently make your way back in front of your chair if you've taken any of these standing movements. And whether we are seated or standing, finding some length in your spine, maybe you choose to reach up and breathe in. On your exhale, perhaps we bend our knees, drawing your hips back and slowly beginning to lower your hips until they connect with your chair. Continuing that forward movement with your arms, and then we'll inhale to scoop and lift and reach up. Exhaling your arms slightly back and down. Now, if it's comfortable and available, you could hold on to your chair with your hands, maybe scooting a little bit forward to create a gentle arch in your upper back. And if for whatever reason that feels uncomfortable or you're just not enjoying that, you can also reach your hands back for the wall behind you. Wherever we are, inhaling a bit of a lift in your heart. And as you exhale, we could sweep our arms forward, crossing one arm over the other. So you may find that you're holding onto your shoulders or your upper back. A little bit of opening from side to side may feel useful here. Starting to come through what feels like center. And beginning to notice which arm you have naturally placed on top. We're going to swap that out. Maybe you open your arms wide to breathe in, a little lift in your heart, and exhale the opposite arm on top. As much as feels comfortable, letting your elbows get heavy so that they're resting on your body. And then perhaps turning from side to side. If you're clenching your jaw, this could be a moment to soften your jaw. If you're furrowing your brow, maybe softening between your eyes. As you begin to come through what feels like center, perhaps opening your arms wide to breathe in. And as we exhale, turning your palms to face the ground. Now, this is a strengthening place. So you could stay right where you are with your arms extended wide, feeling strength coursing through your shoulders, your arms. If you'd like a little bit of movement, you could explore reaching gently from side to side. A little bit more strengthening into our core, your abdominals sort of moving you to the side and then back in, noticing how you're breathing. And for a little bit of softness, you could add a bit of a wave into your arm, noticing how we are continuing to strengthen in our shoulders, even as we find a little bit of fluidity and softness into our arms, our fingers. We'll come through center and maybe reach up to breathe in. Exhaling your hands together to your heart. If you'd like to, you could interlace your fingers and start to find a little bit of movement in your wrist. You could continue with this movement in your wrist, or if you choose to, you could keep your fingers interlaced and turn your interlaced palms forward to extend your arms forward, breathing in and breathing out. As we inhale, maybe lifting your arms overhead. And as we exhale, you could release your arms all the way down. We'll begin to close our practice in a really similar way to the way we began. So maybe exploring some torso circles, noticing if they feel any differently now than they did at the beginning of your practice. Trying out both directions. Beginning to make your way towards center once you feel like you have circled enough, checked in enough with your lower back. And we'll take our sort of last spinal twist. I like to call it my final spinal. Maybe you bring your right hand to your left knee and maybe you turn to the left. Now, this could be a moment to pause in your twist. And as much as feels comfortable, imagine sitting just slightly taller, breathing in and breathing out. On your next inhale, you could unwind back through center, and then we'll exhale over to the other side. Again, in a very subtle way, we're not forcing this. We're just imagining sitting slightly taller to breathe in. And breathe out. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's inhale our way back through center. And as you exhale, You could shift from side to side as you start to make your way back into the support of your chair. As we begin to get as comfortable as we can be, you may find it feels nice to sort of adjust how your feet are so that you can get comfortable in your legs. If it sounds inviting today, you could take a moment to use the strength of your hands to give a little bit of a circular pressure massage to your forehead, maybe to your temples, just sort of inviting some softening in the muscles and connective tissues of our face, maybe some circles around your cheeks or your jaw. As you feel ready, you could extend your arms to breathe in. Maybe your legs want to stretch one last time. Exhaling to bring your hands down, your feet connecting to the ground. As you let your belly get big, that nice soft Buddha belly, it's possible that your eyes close as you invite yourself into a moment of rest. As we transition into a time of stillness and rest to absorb all the benefits of our practice today. You're welcome to have your eyes closed or open. It's up to you. We'll be here for about 1 minute, each of us breathing and resting, after which I'll bring us back with the sound of my voice. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath in some way. Maybe you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Honoring your body and your experience by starting to find whatever little movements your body may be asking you for. Possibly your fingers or your toes are asking you for some movement. Maybe you blink your eyes open. Possible that you choose to extend your legs or find any little movement that feels useful and instinctive right now. You may find that there's some lengthening in your spine. And if you want to, you could bring one hand over the other, over your heart, taking a moment just to thank and acknowledge yourself for overcoming whatever obstacles were in your way so that you could be here to move and breathe and practice in this community today. If you'd like to, you could blink your eyes open if they're closed and inhale to reach up. Maybe you exhale your hands together to your heart. Peace and love and light from my heart to yours. Thank you all so much for sharing this time and this practice with me and inviting me into this beautiful community. You're welcome to unmute if you'd like to share how you're feeling, or if you have questions or thoughts or requests for anything you'd like to add in for our practice on Friday together. I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to Friday. You're awesome.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for saying that. I'm not sure who that was, but that was such a wonderful message. Thanks for sharing.
Countess, Oakland, California.
Oh, hey, Countess. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Gail joining from Hawaii. Wow, fantastic. What island are you on, Gail? Give us some details. Gail says knee injury. Oh, yeah, able to move slowly and mindfully. Good job following what feels good for your body. Annette, you are so welcome. She says, thank you so much. And Gail also says, have a great day. And I think that message is for everyone. So hope
Thank
we all have a
you.
wonderful
Thank
day.
you so
Thank you so
much.
much. I enjoyed
You're
it. I feel
welcome.
great. Hey, listen, I accidentally hit just for today. How can I get another link sent to me for Friday?
That is a question for our amazing admin V, who is on the call right now. And I bet she will give some information in our chat box. So are you able to see the chat box, Chloe?
Yes, ma'am, I am. I'm going to the chat bar
Okay.
as we speak.
Okay, great. V, if you're able to share some information for Chloe about how she can get the link for Friday, that would be fantastic. Oh, we've got more messages. Plan to share with our senior church group. I like that. Share in the community. Annette says this is a great experience. Marcia, you won't be here Friday. That's okay. We'll send you some love at your appointment. We hope it goes well. Laverne also wants the link. So, V, I will trust that you will be your amazing self and share those links. V is so great. GoGoGrandparent is so lucky to have her.
I'll be
Hi,
wholeheartedly.
we got a wave from Susan.
Can you hear me? It just says
I
Lavin.
I can hear you, Lavin.
Oh, good. My name's Audrey. I don't know why I'm
Welcome.
not here. Yeah, I'm in Ohio. You're calling from Canton, Ohio.
You know, my dear, I'm having a lot of trouble understanding what you're saying, but I'm so happy that you're here.
Well, thank
And
you.
I hope you had a good time in class. And
Yes.
um,
So,
I'm sorry.
This is Annette. I think I need a link for Friday too.
Okay, great. Annette also needs a link. I don't see anything from V yet, but I know V, and I'm sure she's working on it. Susan, I see you waving, but I can't hear you, my dear.
I
I
know.
think you. Oh, bye now, my dear. Thanks for joining, Lavin. So you may need to unmute your microphone, Susan, if you want to share. I'm happy to hear your message. Anybody else want to share how they're feeling or any questions you might have?
This is Millie Williams. Thank you very much.
Hi, Millie.
Wonderful experience.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Millie, I'm glad you were here.
Thank you.
Paul in Georgia. I got a question.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, Paul. I hear you. What's your message or question?
Listen, I'm having a problem with soreness in my legs. And I think it's because there's like no support. Of course, I'm standing here in my socks. Maybe I should put my tennis shoes on, but I don't know if it's the lack of support with this floor that's the issue, or and it's primarily because I spend a lot of time walking around in my apartment just to be active, you know.
You know,
So
depending on what kind of, yeah, I mean that could certainly contribute. I know, depending on what kind of floor you have in your apartment, it could be a good idea to keep those tennies on inside just to give yourself that support, depending on, I don't know exactly what else is going on, but depending on how high your arch is in your foot, sometimes people can feel a lot better keeping their shoes on. Being barefoot can be pretty hard on our legs and spine. Let's see, we got a wave coming in from Countess. Does that sort of help out?
That's what I figured. Yeah, you said pretty much what I was thinking. So, okay.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Hey,
Caro,
Bertha.
thank you for the balance portion and thank you for the rest too.
Oh yeah. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thanks for sharing what you needed. I always love to hear from y'all so we can sort of tailor it to your needs and what y'all want. So thanks for sharing.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Let me see who's talking. Oh, hey, yes, Susan.
Susan from Portland. Hi.
Hey, Susan, welcome.
Thank you. I have a tendency to hunch over, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to consciously raise my head and put my shoulders back. But is there any particular exercise that could be good for that?
Totally. So I'm just going to turn to the side here so you can kind of get a sense. So we often we spend all our time like on our computers, on our phones, right? So we get all this sort of tension coming up here. And if we're just focusing on lifting our chin and chest, then that can sort of create a little bit of the opposite problem, right? So we don't want to imagine that jutting forward of our chin. Instead, we want to sort of imagine that lengthening sensation. So that kind of opening up in the back of your neck so that we're not sending our chin forward like we do when we're typing on our phone. And instead, we're sort of realigning it up. So anything that's going to strengthen across your shoulders and chest is going to be helpful for sort of realigning. Because what we're doing is we're sort of weakening the muscles that we need by always hunching over. So anything that's in the arm, shoulder, neck strengthening section, I'm just going to move to the wall so you can kind of see what
Okay.
I'm doing here. Let me see the best wall I could use. Actually, I have a pillar right here. So sometimes what I'll do just to sort of check in with those muscles. So imagine that I have both hands on the wall here. I just stand next to the wall and then I just bend and then I straighten back up. So all I'm doing is starting to strengthen my triceps. But luckily everything's connected. So as I'm starting to strengthen all my triceps, it's sort of connected up, right? And so then once those muscles are strong enough to start getting into more strengthening just using the support of my wall, then we get into stuff like that downward facing dog we did today. I don't know if you were able to join in for that one, but you can
Not
do
yet.
that one with even like a countertop in a kitchen. Sometimes I'll just hold on to the countertop and you step back as much as you can. And what it's doing is it's starting to lengthen a lot of the muscles in our upper back that get all tight and scrunched up when we're sort of hunching over all the time. So the more we can explore that lengthening, the more we're sort of counteracting that. And then honestly, you're doing the best thing just by being aware of it. So many people aren't. So
Oh,
you're already doing the hard part of oh, I noticed something, and let me see how I can adjust.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I feel like you're in good company with that one. Let's see. Oh, we have some great messages over here. A podiatrist consult helped me with a strengthening by prescribing supportive tennis shoes and orthotics. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think, the good shoes are more important than anything else we wear. Supporting our feet. It can help with so many different things. So thanks for sharing that, Lavere. So V, do you think you're going to be able to share the links with the whole group, or is that something you're going to send out individually?
Sorry, I was double muted. So the emails always include all the link. All of our emails include all of the links.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah, so the emails is attached to any of the emails, whether it's the invitation, the confirmation, or the reminder. It all has the links included.
Fantastic.
Question. Thank you for
Yeah.
answering my question, but I have one. I've
Yeah.
hit, it gives you an option whether you want to double the exercise for Wednesday and Friday, but I went in and hit accidentally the Wednesday. So if I hit the Wednesday, it's not going to allow me to get in, is what I'm saying. So what do I do about that, please?
It's always the same. It's always the same link for our YouTube. So all you have to do is join the Zoom.
What
I'm sorry, the Zoom. It's always the
for
Zoom
Zoom?
link
Yeah.
for. It's always the same link for all of our classes.
Yeah. So whatever link you use today, Chloe, you'll just use that same link on Friday, and that'll get you here.
And you can
Thank you
also
so much.
hit the RSVP button for Friday to get the reminder for Friday. So that way you get added to both.
Say that again. I can hit what, babe?
The RSVP button for the Friday class on the
Oh,
email you received. And yeah, and then you will just get a reminder for Friday as well.
thank you, beautiful woman of God. I'm gonna have to go because I'm feeling so good. Thank you so much. See you
Thank you.
Friday.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thanks for being here, and I look forward to
Bye-bye.
seeing you on Friday. Take care,
Mhm.
everyone. Stay well.